establish how JunJia can feel at this point in time versus JGD, who is now returning to the team. That
I was in NACL mode. NACL, like the cameras go on the players for draft, and then I just like I lock in. You know, that's what we need. I got to stay a little poised, a little posed here.
Let's lock in on the fact that we're already down to the third and final ban, and a lot of things are up on the table right now when you think of power picks. Support power picks right now, Bard and Camille, top of the table at the moment. No Ezreal, so Ziggs will be like the next best bot laner to secure. However, Vi blind pick off the rip. Normally, I'm not a fan. Cubby. And in prior metas, we have talked many times where Vi blind pick into you knowing nothing at all can be punished so heavily. And if you don't build a dive comp around the Vi is going to feel so terrible making solo dive missions by yourself.
Yeah, I think that with a lot of the mages coming in, actually, Vi's kind of gone up in priority, just guaranteeing the fact that a Ziggs combo can land. And Ziggs is where my eyes go now, because they respond with a Jarvan in the jungle. Cataclysm plus Ziggs, definitely something that you got to think about picking here, because if not, could easily go over to JGD, who have not picked up the Ziggs yet this split. But we know that Gala plays it well.
Funny thing is that he's played Xerath as well, even though we know that he's definitely more comfortable with the Ziggs, at least in recent memory. However, EDG, they know that Leave is quite skilled at playing marksman champions, and they have not seen that much more consistent success when it comes to putting Leave on a mage. So already with something like Lucian and Jarvan, you have a lot of aggressive skirmishing potential, but that does mean that you need to build your composition more around the Lucian. But Gala's going to answer with the Xayah. Now, normally I like Xayah into a lot of skirmishing junglers like Nocturne and Vi, because you can just cancel the ulti. Jarvan is the one where it's like, oh, you're still stuck with me in the Cataclysm.
No, that's a good shout. This was kind of a answer to Xayah Rakan when it was really dominant, when it was coming out on release. The fact that you can Cataclysm Xayah, and if she goes airborne, she's still stuck in the Cataclysm. So we'll see if that's an interaction that JJ takes advantage of, as gets a champion that was big for him in that Worlds run with that J4. As flip side, Vi Rakan, definitely a sound combo, and one that you don't feel bad playing into Milio. So it does give you a guaranteed play into Milio.
And right now, there's not much value Milio's going to get off of the Breath of Life other than the root from the feathers and the charm from the quickness. So we'll see what both teams want to now round out their compositions with. I will say that there is a need for some magic damage, since we're running both standard AD fighter junglers and marksman bot laners.
Yeah, but that said, actually, I like the Rumble ban coming out from EDG. I just don't think that Rumble paired up with Lucian Milio is a sound pairing, even if you have Jarvan. So taking that away and opening up for maybe a tankier top laner for ZDZ, which I expect. I prefer when you have some space creators for Lucian Milio. Lucian can pack a lot of damage for your comp, so giving Leave a little bit of assistance there with that could be key. We'll see if that's the path that EDG wants to take. Meanwhile, Vayne taken away, could very easily see a blind Gnar coming out from JDG. Would kind of fit the, I'd say, the earlier game-centric profile that JDG is showing right now. Gnar would really solidify them into being like, all right, 1 to 2 item power spike, and if it goes late, I hope that Xayah can end up carrying. You know, I saw Mark's camera go down. I was hoping that I'd still have a Mark and just the camera down. We don't have a Mark right now. So we're going to hope that our old friend returns to us soon. And hope that we end up going through this draft as TF locked on it in for the bans. I'm really curious if it still ends up being a Rise that they're looking at, or also with TF being taken off the board. I mean, that is something that I'm used to seeing HongQ play a lot and play really well, as he was definitely biased towards taking that. So, yeah, I think that Rise being locked in, definitely a read that JDG was looking for that one for HongQ. Going to be taken for EDG, going to give Lucian Milio access to a little bit more space and a move. And now the answer from HongQ, we'll see if it's Anivia, but I think that one of my things for JDG has been this was a team that very clearly was using mid-jungle to move and impact the map. And the meta for this split has been using jungle support to move a lot of time around your solo lanes and impact the map. I do think this is a little bit more of a standard game we have with the two marksmen showing. One that might favor JDG's style, because we've seen them be more successful in that meta that was much more reliant on moving jungle mid around. I feel like that's where we've seen that past experience that JunJia and HongQ have together really shine. So, Narakawi taken, early spike, locked in here for JDG, as EDG looking to round out their composition with the top laner. Usually we see the Ambessa here. I do think that ZDZ has a chance for the Jax, but expect to see the Ambessa. And honestly, a lot of melees for Ambessa to at least try and find. I like this comp for EDG. I know that Ambessa is not the space creator that we are used to seeing for Lucian Milio, but the ability for J4 Rise Ambessa to get in there, I think, provides some chaos for Lucian Milio to thrive in, is there. Meanwhile, via Kali, that's going to be really dominant early to mid-game for JDG. Whoever eats the cease and assist, you're going to have an Akali following up behind you with a full combo. So we will see if EDG is ready for that and if the players can utilize their hands, some of the tools they have at their disposal to play their way out of it. So anyway, with that said, I fear that we are showing off the mascot of an LPL team that I am blanking on above me, as they're running internet maintenance for Raafaa. So we'll see if we get Raafaa back or not. At the moment, going to be stuck with me for a little bit longer as we dive into game one. Think JDG again. Earlier spikes for the top side as they try and utilize the strong white items that they have to push EDG around. I do favor the scaling of the Rise, of the Lucian, of the enemy better later. So curious if JDG can get off to that fast pace and really set the pace for the game. I think they're going to need it if they want to win.
We've got a game on our hands. No pauses anymore. We are getting ready for game number one between EDG and JDG. Can EDG finally get a series win here tonight? Right.
JDG homestand, yeah?
Yes, we've been in the arena, and we'll continue to be in the arena until Sunday, and we'll continue to move on around the arena here. Early 2-on-2, Lucian Milio's very strong for that, but Nick Zoss is going to cut that at the helm. It seems like the health trade is going to go in favor of JDG in the meantime, but if we can't press this advantage, I imagine that Lucian Milio is just going to continue to heal up thanks to having Parukia here.
Yeah, both junglers pathing away from the bot side too, as we've got matched clears, both heading up to the top side. And yeah, I'm kind of surprised there that Milio actually started W, but hey, got the double win as both Lead and Parukia got full duration of W and definitely helped Zoe trade. Usually E-start for Milio, but nice adjustment there for EDG. They get the Bush Prio and get the push.
I wonder if ever you are Parukia, or if you're a Vampire and you're saying, oh, he started W, or hey, he started the shield. Maybe I just start the Grand Entrance and just try to get like a small burst trade with Xayah Rakan. But not going to be something we're going to be looking for immediately. JunJia, JunJia's going to get spotted on that one minion. And if JunJia's able to get all of these Raptors, it's fine, but Rise is already kind of cheating his way over here. So it seems like JunJia's just going to miss out on some of his Raptors and maybe the entirety of his top side.
Yeah, he did force the smite, so this is a red buff that now can be contested. Bulldog has push, and I like what we're seeing from EDG early. Opportunity to get up in the face of the Vi, especially if you're up a red buff, which JJ is. Smite available for JJ, so he's going to want to kill this camp as JunJia pulls it away. Bulldog is here. Gets the full reset, but this should probably still go over to EDG.
Yeah, Gnar started trading, so they can't move over there. Oh, that is a super mega fire kick. Leave almost gets that kill on the Gala. Forces some summoner spells out from Leave, but a very big win now. That's 2 camps for JunJia. That's the bot lane advantage going over to EDG early.
Honestly, good start for EDG. Again, setting up the setting the table for this game out. Feel like EDG scaling advantage in the solo lanes and with the Lucian Milio later on. Gonna have to be pretty big early to mid game spike. You can get a lot of guaranteed plays out of Akali, so definitely expect to see JunJia and HongQ sync up when 6 is acquired, but at the moment, it is JJ taking advantage of some creating pathing and a bit of a jungle advantage, a bit of a bot lane advantage, and EDG set up for success early.
Ooh, Melio being desynced from Lucian. We'll see if that becomes an issue. JunJia's already pathing his way down here, and so there might be an angle where we see Leave get punished for not being on the same timer as his support. Gala also, because of that early recall that he had to take, actually got a call. So hopefully we'll be able to kind of catch himself up, gets a plate in return. We're going to continue on with this game here, Cubby. And as we kind of move forward, I just look at the solo lanes of this game. We've seen the Gnar versus Ambessa matchup really start to lean in favor of the Gnar recently, and so I'm just worried, like you're mentioning, if this one item power spike for JDG doesn't go well, like Rise and Ambessa become really, really tough to kill later.
Yeah, they do. Definitely where my concern is right now for JDG, but hey, they came into the day as the stronger team on paper. We'll see if they can use their might to push EDG around. Then we're looking at top lane right now. ZDZ was pleasantly surprised to see he's actually leading all top laners in gold differential at 15. Do think that ZDZ has been the easiest member for me to at least look at when it comes to this EDG team. As, of course, 06 teams had some struggles, but I think ZDZ's had some good lanes and some decent moments at times.
Yeah, ZDZ, as most top laners, has not really gotten a ton of attention, but his lane has always been really good. My issue, personally, has just been his ability to transition those leads. I always go back to his Gnar play. He's been a great laner, but getting into team fights with this EDG team just haven't been all there this year. So now with this Ambessa, it's obviously in a much, much more nerfed state than it was at the beginning of the year, and can have some troubles, especially if we think about some of the slippier aspects of this JDG composition. Just being able to maneuver around them, it's hard for Ambessa to really get that locked down.
Yeah, definitely have to look to see if those public executions are, following up on the Empowered Rune prisons going down. Might help ZDZ find the targets in the backline. I do think it's a good shout. I mean, this champion's still disgusting at 16, but I do appreciate the change they made to public execution. I feel like gave her a little bit more skill expression, because I think the champion looks skill-intensive from the outside looking in, but in reality, it's not that difficult to play mechanically. I don't view Ambessa as a very difficult to play champion.
Really? Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I think a lot of her power is kind of budgeted around being able to weave auto attacks in to get her energy back. Otherwise, yes, she can traverse a lot of distance, but then her cooldowns are a little bit longer, especially before you get any ability haste. So I think especially because they've had to tap down her ultimate, it kind of brings her back in line with some of the other laners.
Yeah. First Drake was picked up there by JDG. Vi special, as Vi able to get to that one. JJ on the top side is still a bit of a jungle lead for JJ. Curious if he actually makes his way over to the Raptors. Could be denied, as those are spawning shortly, as ult traded top.
I got really excited for a second, and then I was like, it's level 7.
You thought it was time. It's not time yet.
I felt the loins start to warm up, and then we cooled off immediately. No Raptors!
You are living out the dream of the cover cast you're having to fill. You get to play-by-play fights, experience the hype.
Let's see if we can make anything happen on the Bulldog. He still has Flash. He's got a Ruby Crystal and the Sapphire Crystal. He's holding both colors in both hands. And he read the runes. They say, you do not get this gank right now. We're getting even more downtime. No kills, 7 minutes. I'm sure Raafaa is extremely excited.
Yeah, if Raafaa said if his phone could support casting through data, he would. But he didn't think that.
I would not allow that. I'm vetoing that now.
Stream quality, probably not the best for that. But I actually was a little bit surprised that JJ didn't opt to take the Raptors away, as damage put out to leave. But Emilio helps absorb the majority of it, and I did not like that culling drop.
Yeah, it's just going to be an exhaust trade between the two of them, and gonna probably favor the trade if we are
JunJia's
JGD.
coming.
Yep. JunJia can make his way over here. I would say maybe I'm a little bit afraid. There's a mid-wave that's getting pushed out. I say that, I look at the vision, great vision toggle from the observers here. All of the wards that are around this raptor pit just saw JJ go to the opposite side of the map. Oh!
We
All
left
right, so let's
Flash at
move
home.
on. Okay. All right. So Grubs is being taken. I have no words.
That was a fat finger of all time. Yes.
You know, BLG have the golden left hand of the LPL, and EDG have the big fat finger in the bottom position.
And we're not talking about the foam fingers in the crowd. It's unfortunately what the marksman on stage is. We're gonna have
there
a
we
pause.
go.
We're gonna see if Leave looks down at his hands or his keyboard and just be like, hold on.
The message that I'm ready to swap back in, and then as soon as that happens, Leave just flashes for 0. And look at that, we're back into game. Bless everything in the world. Bless you, Cubby. Bless Shivam for potentially going on another super long night of the LPL. And I love you guys. Let's have a good show.
Let's get the games back started. All right, if you guys weren't around before the pause, this was a quiet game state so far. We saw JJ be able to take a few things away from JunJia in the jungle early on. And comp-wise, we do think it's important that JGD starts to get the party going. Because this is a comp where Akali and R, really strong early spikes. Late game, not so much, especially going up against Ambassador Rise and that Lucian Milio too, as Enchantress going to help in scaling at EDG. So I like EDG's comp. I do think the onus is on JDG to make plays early or else they will get outscaled. And at the moment, first Dragon was secured by Vi, but that's really all the action we've had so far. And I hate to say it, I lost the grub count. I think it's 2-1 in favor of EDG. But we're going to have to wait for quest to complete to get that one back. You can quiz me on that one, Raafaa.
We'll find out when the time gives us. Speaking of dragons, we got the second one spawning in about 55 seconds. So if JDG want to go for that very fast mid-game style that their composition is suited to excel at this game, then they have to make sure that this second dragon goes off without a hitch. However, EDG is already in the area on the bottom side trying to set up some counter vision, but look at the deep vision that has already been established in that bottom side red quadrant. So this gives EDG already a lot of info on where JunJia is and how EDG might want to actually try and make that approach.
It looks like they might be swapping out. You can see Milio making their way up towards the top side. Leave going to complete the base, not working towards that bot lane. So I know via Akali guaranteed plays early with cease and assist into the Akali combo. With hopefully, I mean, the big reason is that you want to connect your E on the cease and assist, as that is the big damage tool for Akali. She needs to find the executes. Might be enough power early on that EDG just kind of opt out of it. And frankly, based on what we went over in the pre-show, Raafaa, this is a bit of an upgrade for EDG. This is a drag. Like, we like the scaling. We went over a replay where we liked the scaling of that comp, and they forced a dragon that they didn't have the setup for and wasn't there. I think getting this and trying to take resources elsewhere is something that could pay off for EDG moving forward.
Yeah, they forced the swap out of JDG's top and bot lane respectively. JGD's trying to catch Vampire and Gala on their way to absorb the wave. Cataclysm right onto the Xayah, but a flop from Vampire allows Battle to reposition the feathers and threatens Leave. Breath of Life used to cleanse the quickness as well. Teleports coming in from multiple members, but all that fizzles out, and we still have yet to find First Blood in this game one.
They're going to stop the wave from hitting the turret because they want to avoid the dive. They're still going.
Execution, right without Vampire. EDG collects First Blood for ZDZ's Mbessa, and HongQ tries to find a miracle in the middle of all 5 members there, but look at what JDG gets on the rest of the map.
Gnar gets gold, JunJia gets gold, but frankly, I think given what EDG invested, important they were able to get something there. ZDZ is probably going to get a plate in the back half too as he gets this wave in. So, TP for Bulldog to catch. He completed the Roa. I think overall, I will take what EDG got. It's not exactly a gold lead, but this was kind of a handshake of plays, an exchange of tools where we're talking about how strong the Vi Akali is right now. EDG were opting out of not fighting for that dragon that they set up. They did manage to make a play elsewhere. I think that JDG's response was fine because they bought enough time to, kind of match the resources they're losing up here. Really nice turn here from Vampire and Gala. I think the ult from Parukia also very well timed to make sure that Leave wasn't stuck, wasn't taking power shots from that root that did connect. As just barely able to connect the public execution and help get the party started. Again, JGD trying to hold the wave, not able to do so successfully, and just allow EDG to get something.
promising start for EDG. Because like you said, it's not a gold advantage winning play for EDG, but if they're able to keep the game somewhat even and not super out of control for JDG and find their windows to just make positive plays on the map, they will scale. And as long as JDG aren't blowing the map wide open, then it's good for EDG. However, JunJia now wants to make some corrections. Vault Breaker flash into the cease and desist. Quickness to charm up, and the kill doesn't get gifted over to HongQ, but at least JunJia will be able to take this lead further.
Yeah, that looks pretty unplayable for ZDZ. As did not flash out. JunJia got the party started with a few flash there. And once the chain started, it wasn't ending. So ZDZ falls. Does get the Eclipse in the base, but for JDG, again, that's the kind of play that we need to see them make. Good to see JunJia and Vampire sync up, as I know that we like how this team moves with mid-jungle better than jungle support. That's a positive. See if they can continue to hopefully turn this into more. I mean, ZDZ going down there, obviously not ideal, but the fact that he didn't burn Flash, that I think is okay for the scenario. He was very dead in that scenario.
Yeah. Still being able to maintain that summoner spell for another scenario in the past. First break does go the way of JDG. Rift Herald spawning in the next few seconds, whereas the third dragon of the game is going to be up in about 145. Right now, we have EDG members starting to corral around the top side, but there's vision on this top side river, so JDG knows that the objective has started.
Would be no Vi ult, no Recon ult if this is taken now, but Xiaoxu just hit Mega. He's TPing in behind EDG. This is not spotted.
He's got a good flank area. HongQ trying to grab their attention right now. Xiaoxu now spotted, looking for the Mega Gnar flash. On the 3, beautiful, and that Breath of Life ain't saving anyone anytime soon. Instant double kill for HongQ's Akali, and the rest of EDG scattered to the winds.
JunJia was just taking those top side camps while JJ was taking the bot side camps to JDG. That leftover ward, that gave Xiaoxu such a great angle to TP into, and man, the response for EDG, they could not escape the clutches of the collapse from JDG thanks to that angle from the top laner.
And that allows JDG to now skyrocket to nearly 3K. Let's watch this again.
I mean, not really much else to say. Like, their escape is top. They don't have a turret, and Xiaoxu pushes them way up in the river. The fact that JJ gets out, I think, is honestly a bit of a positive for EDG, but there's no chance of winning that fight as the setup a little bit too good there from JDG. It's 20 seconds away from this dragon. Xiaoxu about to go Mega again, so won't have that for the dragon spawn. We'll see if that is enough for JDG to stall out this take on the dragon, while EDG, they don't want to let the soul point go over for free.
Xiaoxu is timing out on Mega Gnar here, so he will be mini for the start of this objective leash. The JDG are going to pull it regardless. JunJia trying to work with Leap and Parukia. There's no flash on this solution. Pretty hard to dodge and get out of a JDG combo if they decide he is the target they want to engage upon, but can't see if the dragon is still being tethered. Looks like JunJia's going to drop it now.
Couple wards behind JDG for a potential ZDZ flank. I think this is a scary dragon to contest. Just lost a fight. A lot of tools are up, but this is going to be a DTP.
Oh boy. Vampire immediately greets ZDZ with a grand entrance. Xiaoxu already mega form, but he whips the ultimate. That's a big tool to not have anymore for JDG, and already they're not liking their chances anymore now that Xiaoxu is timing out on the Mega Gnar.
HongQ ulted. Missed opportunity there for JDG. Xiaoxu not able to find the engage. HongQ's ult's down now as well. The big engage tool is still there. Cease and desist and quickness both available, but more tools for the side of EDG. Might be enough for JDG to give this one away.
Where's this Rift Herald going to go? HongQ in trouble. Able to dodge on.
Ooh, looks like ZDZ at least able to help create space. Dragon goes down.
Rift Herald. JJ's back in. Realm War brings in the majority of EDG, and they're able to turn it up on its head. 2 members dropped on the side of JDG. No one goes down, and EDG even secure the 3rd dragon of the game.
That was a really big fight from ZDZ. Public execution connected. He got in the middle of everyone and did a lot of work on Ambessa. Meanwhile, EDG, they did bring this Rift Herald down bot as we get a replay here. Again, a little bit of a funky split fight. Leave and Parukia, they force out HongQ, but wasn't super high value. That said, I think ZDZ getting involved here was really clutch. That ult from Gala, nice buffer by JJ with that Cataclysm, kind of got him out of danger and still got a lockdown on someone. And then HongQ just already missing the ult. Not super valuable in this scenario. So EDG able to band together. That's a big win. They get a dragon. They cut into the lead. And this is the backdrop of a comp that we prefer the scaling of as well.
2 items already on Leave's Lucian with the Essence Reaver and the Hex Optics. Not gonna lie, I'm not familiar with Lucian builds these days because that is not one that
we don't
I've
usually see
seen.
Hex Optics. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a different one. Normally used to the Flicker Blades or even the... Sometimes you see, what, a Rapid Fire Cannon? Or
yeah.
IE if you're super pumped up on damage. But JDG gonna do the best they can to stabilize the map. They're still ahead in gold, but as you pointed out, EDG, they're totally comfortable if the gold lead does not skyrocket out of their grasp before they come online with the rest of their scaling powers in their composition here.
I mean, Bulldog's already pretty much online. He's got Seraphs and Roa, only a couple stacks left till it evolves. ZDZ at 2 items is ahead of the Gnar now. Was a big benefactor off that last fight, so... Yeah, I think this is the case where from here on out, just the way that EDG can play this comp, and honestly, the straightforward ability of it, as long as, for me, Rise isn't the immediate target, I just think that what he's going to provide with the damage against the melees and that empowered Rune Prison to help set up for hopefully ZDZ or Leave too. I think as long as Bulldog's not that initial target, should be a pretty happy fight for EDG. I have a little bit more faith in Leave getting out, just knowing that he's going to have Milio attached at his hip and more mobility in his kit than Bulldog, who I feel like should probably be the target for JDG.
Definitely a more durable opponent and one that can still pump out considerable amount of damage compared to the Lucian, who should just be more of an afterthought once they do jump on him. I'm with you there. 2 minutes and 15 before 4th Dragon does spawn on the Rift here. JDG still ahead in gold, but not necessarily looking like they are confident with their momentum, as it is EDG starting to push the vision line further into the bottom side of the jungle.
Again, I feel like EDG deserves some credit here. A lot of the tape that we went through early on, Raafaa, didn't like the objective setups. I feel like the last 2 dragons they played around, like the option to give and then the long fight for that was really good.
We're engaging. Right on the Vampire. He flashes away from the quickness, but he goes in with the grand entrance. 2-man knock up on the Bulldog, but no one can follow up from JDG. JunJia decides, I'm on the ball. Cease and desist onto the Jarvan. They can pop the jungler. Can they follow up on the rest of the play now? HongQ into the backline while Xiaoxu deals with ZDZ and catches the public execution attack. ZDZ now on the wrong side of the fight as Gala just shreds him to bits with the feathers. And now JDG are able to bail out their mid laner thanks to a last-minute flash over the wall. EDG lose out on 3.
I mean, HongQ just took care of the opponent's bot lane by himself. Was a really nice Akali mechanic in there, too. He shuriken backflipped into the wall, which takes away the animation when you don't go through the wall. So was able to actually find Leave on the execute. Was really well played. As keep your eyes on HongQ. We're going to take a second look. I feel like JJ goes in here just to kind of exchange the buffer. That's actually a positive trade. This loses the flash right away. But keep your eyes on HongQ here. As this entrance into the fight, another control ward drop kind of allows for him to sneak in here. Yeah, finds the Jarvan. That's one. But watch this E he finds onto Leave. Goes up against the wall. Oh, okay. It wasn't exactly the one against the wall. I thought he buffed it against the wall, but still able to find Leave with the E between him and Parukia. That was the difference maker. Makes sure that Lucian went down. And it gave Gala a really easy fight on the back half, given all the chaos that HongQ was able to create, and the fact that JJ was taken off the board immediately.
I think it is imperative that Bulldog is hugging Leave in these fights as soon as Akali goes into the backline, because they need
the
an empowered Rune Prison.
Yeah,
they need the Rune Prison. Otherwise, Akali just gets to do whatever she wants. Dragon spawned. JDG, this would be their 3rd dragon if they can secure it. JJ walking into the river now. They're on top of a control ward, but JGD's going to face check into Vampire, who immediately gets knocked up, and the cease and desist right on through. JGD is gone, and now here comes HongQ and the rest of JDG to sweep through the backline. Leave dies yet again. Public execution sidestep by HongQ as Xiaoxu comes in, throws EDG up against the wall, and says "Gnar" all over them. EDG lose 3 yet again, and suddenly this game looks very JDG favored.
I mean, JJ just kind of walked in there and died. There was a lack of button usage on maybe a flag to check a brush or alt to get out. He was knocked up pretty early, but yeah, I mean, this is... I like the position that EDG was in before the last 2 fights. Now things got pretty ugly pretty fast, and Bulldog might fall himself too.
Well, Realm Orb does bail him out of there since there's no CC left on JDG's side, but this does not look good for EDG, and when we take a look back, I'm getting flashbacks to the EDG TES series where JJ just walks in and just kind of dies.
I think he's saving the flag. Like, he could have flagged the pit, he could have flagged the brush. He doesn't flag either. He walks in, goes down. And yeah, HongQ, goodbye Lucian. As he got some gold from the last fight, put it to good use already, and that was really well played against CDC. Taking the Shuriken backflip back to the Shroud. Finds the back half of the kill, and HongQ has gotten very fed all of a sudden on this Akali. And JDG about to take a lot of standing gold off the board. They haven't knocked down the mid-outer turret yet. They haven't touched any of the inners, and with Baron up, gotta believe they're gonna get a lot of both.
Goodbye, Leave. Yeah, the rest of the EDG say sayonara to their AD carry, knowing that he is completely dead.
Back to the pre-show, Raafaa. Was Leave too far up there? The answer was yes.
Was it Leave's?
That was Leave's fault.
Oh, it's a cycle, Matt. We return to the same prompt at the beginning of the series.
Red team's turret has been destroyed.
You mentioned prompts, and now all I think about is what is the AI going to vote for Pog?
Oh,
we've been trying. It's gotten a little bit better.
What is the name of it? It's like Little Pocket.
Don't care. It doesn't have a name. It doesn't have a name.
You know what? Respect.
The explanations have been special. I have appreciated it because I feel like I have more job security when I get to read the explanations.
You feel confident. It's like, if this is what I'm competing against, I'm okay.
The AI has not yet discovered tempo. Please do not feed it mountains of LS content throughout the years.
We'll see if EDG can regain some tempo in this game, as they are now down around 7,000 gold. JDG are on Soul Point. They can claim their Cloud Soul in 2.5 minutes from now. The rest of JDG are just corralling on the top side, looking for the immediate snap engage. JGD's the target. Bulldog could be the next on the menu. He's able to walk out just fine as the turret was starting to ramp up a little too much for JunJia's comfort, but they're just using their Baron, and they are sweeping away at all the outer turrets.
Press the Vampire, 3,000 total assists, not bad for his young career. In 3 years, well done here in the LPL. Really feel like EDG weren't able to... I think in hindsight, we didn't really see them get pushed in a side lane. I think it's a little bit difficult against the Gnar, but might have been able to help them find a better setup against JDG. I know we like the 2 dragons they played before that 4th dragon spawned for JDG, but really fought an uphill battle in that pit, and it feels like HongQ has the jump on good targets at the start of the majority of these fights, and it kind of tells me that the setup in terms of maybe getting pushed for a lane, getting a member there early, getting vision in the areas needed against JDG. They have had full control over that banana brush for the last couple of dragons. That did really help HongQ get in for the 1. And HongQ has kind of been all over EDG in these fights.
I'm taking a look back at when Akali was picked in the draft, because this was a really nice angle to identify that outside of Rise, on 4/5, yeah. So JDG identifying a nice window where you look at the first 3 champions, Jarvan, Lucian, Emilio. How do you reliably lock something like an Akali down? especially when she has access to Shroud and all her mobility. And so obviously the Rise comes in, and that is your one tool. But not even Mbessa can reliably lock her down unless she just gets super lucky with the public execution, or if she's turbo fed and she can just slice through her in the Shroud. But obviously, neither of those two conditions are at play.
That was aggressive from Leave. Gonna force Gala
Opens
off.
up with the calling. JJ right onto JunJia's face at the moment. Takes a lot of damage, but still going to be alive for now. And he's got a GA in case things got a little scrappy there. Wants to look for the recall. Is Cloud Soul alive at the moment? And JunJia would love to get a recall in before EDG start up the Dragon. However, that might not be the case.
Yeah, that's a really high-value chunk. The camps aren't up for JunJia to try and heal off. He's got one fruit, but actually got EDG control over this banana brush. HongQ does have the angle.
Bulldog's marking him, though. He is hugging Leave right now. 4,600 HP on the Dragon. 3K on the Dragon. The heat immediately opens up on the HongQ, pops the exhaust. Meanwhile, on the front line, Vampires are to stall with the quickness in the grand entrance. JunJia and JJ are battling, but JJ's the first one to drop. Bulldog is going to be the next one, and now HongQ might be low enough to die to Leave. He flashes the Shuriken Strike. It's beautiful, but they still lost the soul fight. JDG now have the Cloud Dragon's might on their side. Leave is finally persisted through and isolated, and the rest of JDG can march this one in through the bot side of the map.
And you know what? We saw that Rise Mbessa combo, but it was on to Gnar. And then HongQ was able to run rampant in the backline again, because they were focused on the wrong side of the fight and not healing Leave and Parukia, who did not get the help that they needed to deal with this very big Akali in this game, as JGD looking to wrap up game one.
Parukia trying to do his best to corral the minion wave and drag it away from the turrets. JJ has respawned. He's got homies coming up in about 5 seconds, but JJ's not durable enough to defend the turrets from falling. Bulldog throws on the portal or the realm warp, just trying to get his allies back out on there sooner, but JDG are strong enough that they can just waste away EDG member one after another. ZDZ doing his best for Hail Mary, finds a public execution, and it's all to delay the inevitable triple kill into the pockets of Gala, and the first game of the series goes to JDG.
Stats padded, as, you know, there was a rule put in the NBA this year, Raafaa, that if you had a last-second heave, they wouldn't count that against your field goal percentage for the year. So it would be like a team field goal and not a personal field goal. Because, you know, you're opting into a low percentage shot, which, of course, you have to eat the stat for, but is just in that game. I'd like to propose, if you have over a 10K gold lead, less than 35 minutes into the game, and you go for Nexus hunting, maybe we remove those stats from the game, as I don't think that those kills were needed at the end for actually finishing off the Nexus, but it was needed for the mental and for the extra LPL action that we have, you know?
For sure. And I think that brings up a good point, Matt, because whenever we look back in history and we look at game scores and we look at a player's KDA or their DPM, it might be inflated if you didn't look and watch the tape and see that if a majority of those numbers get spiked up during the last couple minutes of the game when the game is already decidedly won for your side. So we should bring this up to Riot. 100%.
They're not going to do anything about it. It's too nitpicky, but you know what? They got to pad the stats a little bit. As JDG find a good win, and honestly, going back through the tape of some of this game, it's reasonable. It is reasonable from me. I'm going to write off the fact that Rise can do anything about this. Pog, for you, any reason it's not HongQ?
No.
Yeah, no. I think the AI is going to get this one right, too.
Like, honorable mentions could be maybe Vampire. I think Vampire did a really good job of, like, fishing for abilities and being able to bait out cooldowns, right? But, yeah, HongQ, 1v9 a lot of backline scenarios. Yeah.
Because you're not doing damage in lane as Akali. Yeah, I think it's going to be a HongQ highlight reel. This was really big from Xiaoxu. As this Gnar coming in, this is what got the party going, really, for JDG. And, again, I feel like EDG, they played a bit better at times in this game, but then other times, like JJ just walking into that dragon without using any abilities, that frustrated me. That was rather disrespectful, got punished, and it just makes the rest of the game hard for EDG. I think, again, we very often see small mistakes from this team, and the good teams in the LPL turn those into big mistakes. And that definitely felt this way again. I mean, HongQ just destroyed this fight. That E was a little goofy. I still think he might have done the mechanic into the wall, but I honestly can't tell. It was pretty nice either way.
Yeah, the visual doesn't clarify what really happened. But what I do want to go back on, there's two moments. One is EDG actually finding the third dragon of that game, and they never had a gold lead, but it was within clawing. Yeah, it was in clawing distance. And if EDG are a better team, they're able to identify whether that fourth dragon fight that they play out, either if the setup is bad and they should just go play side lanes like you suggested, or if they take the extra diligence to set up all their vision control in advance and then try and play around this Akali more proactively. Try and force out her ultimate or try and hunt for her before the lead up to the dragon fight, so that Leave has a better time in being able to navigate in these backline scenarios. Maybe.
We saw, like, in that final fight, like, they tried to engage on the Gnar, and they just completely abandoned the backline to HongQ, who was fed that game, ran rampant, and is probably our expected Pog for this game 1 Raafaa. So, again, I feel like EDG did show a few moments where things look a bit better, and I would expect that early on, just because JJ coming in, like, it was pretty clear that it was a rough day 1. The communication should just work itself out as time goes on a little bit with this team, but to see JJ kind of be at the helm of some of those issues too, it's kind of rubbed me the wrong way what happened with Weibo. Just like the report that came out, it's like, the Wei bros are no bros anymore. They're done with each other. And it feels kind of weird. Like, I'm curious to see how those members do when they go elsewhere, because if JJ doesn't start playing well or playing better, I don't know. Just when one team ends that way and then you go into the next team and, like, things aren't sharper, you might have been part of the problem. Okay.
HongQ got robbed, bro.
It wasn't bad, but
I like JunJia had a good game. But I'm genuinely curious why
HongQ was the one doing the boom boom damage. Maybe it wasn't as big of a lane gap as what they were hoping for, because it's not like Bulldog was super far ahead, but HongQ was hands down the most impactful player in those fights.
The only reason I can think of is that they're saying, okay, you know what? JunJia had really proactive dragon control and setup.
Yeah.
So, I mean, at least we have some people that said that HongQ deserved it, but
I'm going to blame the AI.
Checks out with me. I love that. I love that. And for everyone else, if you would like to help us so that we don't eventually lose our jobs to AI, if you would like to support LPL English, consider becoming a Coffee member, because Coffee is the best way to support the LPL English project, since the vast majority of your contributions will go directly to the show. A lot of the initial payments go into upgrading the broadcast, but a huge bulk of it pays on-air talent and content creators. Subscribe to our Coffee, linked in the chat, to unlock perks like early access to content and the ability to ask interview questions for unique on-site interviews. More JDG and EDG action after this break.